Our DPP of many years, Paula, is heading out. Listen as she speaks about her daughter, her father, and her mother. Listen as she speaks.
Her great purpose in life was to make sure that my sister and I understood the importance of either getting a profession or getting something into your head, because she believed that one, if you were able to work hard, nobody, as mommy would say, nobody could take hard work to frighten you. And
Okay.
two, she believed that once you got something into your head in terms of education, nobody can crack your head and take it out.
How important is it or was it for you to have opened up the office of the DPP to greater communication?
I thought you were going to say greater scrutiny.
Well,
And the thing is,
communication.
being a female first,
Yes.
as DPP, I always knew, not that I was going to be detained by it,
Yeah.
but that is what happens. Where as a woman in a world or an arena which was previously inhabited
Yes.
by only men,
Yes. Of a particular era.
a particular era and of a particular age,
Yes. Yes.
you are going to be held to account at a higher standard by the public at large,
Yeah.
and by the media too.
Yes.
I do recall several hard editorials
Yes.
from your publication, but I looked on it as part of the slings and arrows that I was going to have to be tested on, and I do remember several commentators as well, and it's what is really called, should I say, an unconscious bias, because whereas mediocrity may be excused in men by the my daughter would say the patriarchy.
I would say
The
so.
patriarchy is going to ensure that a woman in the same position must do much better to attain the same credibility. But I'm here to say that my experience has been that when you have been tested, having come through the fire like finely tempered steel, once your credibility has been found to be, of the highest quality, the respect is there, even from the patriarchy. That has been my experience.
What gives you so much personal balls and legal balls?
Perhaps you could just call it cojones.
Well,
Or testicular fortitude.
yeah, whatever. Yeah. What
It's
is it?
how I was brought up. My
How?
parents, Mavis Llewelyn, she was a nurse, but she was an extraordinarily positive person. She was my rock. My father is a very, very tough cookie. And he does not believe in the concept of fear. He brought up my sister and I to be unafraid. Two things. To be lazy and to be afraid were two bad words.
Okay.
In
When
our
you, say,
household.
when you say afraid of God, like afraid of lizard, afraid of cockroach,
Well,
or
just
afraid-
fear of anything.
Okay.
According to Daddy, you must be able to speak truth to power,
Okay.
and you must be bold.
And you were able to do that to even your parents as a child.
Well, no, because my father was from the old school.
Okay. So he wanted you to speak it to other people, but
Precisely, but
hold your distance, hold your corner with me.
That's it. But
Okay.
even notwithstanding that, because my sister and I were independent thinkers, and because both my parents are very strong, so it is in our DNA,
Right.
we still sought to speak our truth.
Right.
And I was quite argumentative.
Yeah.
I was shy. I was very shy when I
No
was.
one would believe that now.
Well, I can tell you, from age maybe 5 to about age 13, I was very shy. I was a bookworm. My
Nerd?
great companion. See, I was very nerdy.
Okay.
I used to wear cat eye glasses and I spoke with a lisp.
Yeah.
I still do
Yeah.
because of the open space.
Yeah.
And I considered myself to be an ugly child. I had size 10 feet from early. I was an ugly child. The only beauty I had was my ability to articulate and the fact that I had a great vocabulary because I was such a voracious reader. And also, I was a speed reader.
You were so conscious of how you looked that you decided that, okay, since everybody else is going to focus on that, I'm going to focus on what I put inside of my head.
Well, my mother made sure that we focused on it. She would tell the story, and I tell it too, that her great purpose in life was to make sure that my sister and I understood the importance of either getting a profession or getting something into your head, because she believed that, one, if you were able to work hard, nobody, as mommy would say, nobody could take hard work to frighten you. And two, she believed that once you got something into your head in terms of education, nobody can crack your head and take it out.
Okay.
So when other mothers were rocking the cradle and saying, what is it now, rockabye baby,
Rockabye baby, yes.
my mother was
And
saying
then
you
you
have to
talk-
get something into your head. You must get something into your head. So that is what we grew up with. When other children were able to stand up at the gate, I had to be inside making sure that I'm reading my book.
So I guess you also had to make up your bed and clean your room.
Everything, and as young as we were, and we were the only two girls, Daddy would get up on a Saturday morning from 6, 7 o'clock to start the lawnmower or to cook. He cooked. And when he was cooking, nobody else could cook there. So if we were still
This
in
sounds
bed,
like a prison.
no, looking back now, it was what my mother would call home training. My mother believed in home training and brought up, see. That's how she was brought up. And I brought up my daughter to be like that. So when we would go, my sister and I would go places.
Same way, I mean, like, get something in your head.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is not every bell knock that you are going to be there.
Does she rebel?
Well, she's like her mother. She's talkative.
Okay.
She has an independent mind. But I also taught her the value of critical analysis. So she is discerning. And she was my daughter when she went from Immaculate at 16 on a scholarship to a private boarding school abroad. She called me about 3 months later. I never forget it. And said, Mommy, I want to thank you for how you brought me up. I said the same thing to my daughter. My mother, rather.
Right.
My mother used to say, and unfortunately this is what is happening nowadays, that she's not going to be a delinquent parent. She used to say there are too many delinquent parents who don't know what parenting is all about. And when you're a delinquent parent, that is how you bring up a dysfunctional child.
And you would have had front row view to that in the court system.
Absolutely. And in fact, just generally,
Yes.
you can, a lot of children go astray because a lot of parents, either they don't know how to be a parent or they are delinquent. In other words, they want to be their child's friend. My daughter, I remember, used to say to me when she was like about 6, 7, Mommy, you're not being my friend. I said, Leah, I'm not your friend. I'm your mother.
Yes.
So you have to set boundaries.
Yes.
You have to impart that vision to your child. For example, my daughter, looking back on it now, her friends used to think it was weird, but I did not allow her to have any of these Game Boy things
Yes.
or
At the
PSPs
time, yes.
until she was about 9, when the value and the respect for reading was concretized
Yes.
in her psyche. I wanted to be a librarian because I thought that this is the only way that I would have been able to get enough books to feed my voracious appetite, because I read so quickly
Yes.
that, for example, if I'm going into the bathroom, I'd walk with 2 or 3 Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
And before I leave the bathroom, I would have read them off. That's how quickly I read. I used to read encyclopedias in the days of encyclopedias. I would read them
Yes.
for fun.
Yes.
But I think it was when I was maybe about 14, 15. I thought to myself, what my mother used to say was most important is not what was on the outside. This is when I was emerging from that shy period, and I discovered that I was a frustrated actress, and we would walk out to Crossroads to take the bus, my friends and I. They are there titivating in the mirror. I would turn my back to the mirror looking at them. Because it just didn't matter to me. It's really what is on the inside.
Right, the crossroad was the boy meeting space.
Right, but I didn't really participate in it. I would live vicariously through my friends.
Okay.
Because given how strict my mother was,
yes.
I had to get on the bus
yes.
and go home.
And get home by a certain time.
Right, because up to when I was maybe in third form, my mother used to come for me at school.
Okay.
And I had to prevail upon her because my sister by then started coming to the school.
Okay.
That the both of us can take the bus
together
and go home because she was very protective.
Right, right.
But after a while, I realized, and because of doing the reading, you know, and introspecting as young as I was, and being exposed to literature is my first love. Language, history, that it really is about what is inside. And I think I realized that I had a gift of the gab, that I had a sense of humor, and that it doesn't matter that I speak with a lisp. It's what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter that you are not beautiful in the classical sense, because it's a sort of values. And my mother used to teach me this, but it really started coming to light when I was going on to sixth form. And then I got into law, and the rest is history.
The rest is really history for Paula. Paula, our DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions here in Jamaica. She served for many years. The time has come for her to demit office, and it is highly controversial. Highly controversial. Right now, her story is trending because many are saying that they disapproved of the way in which she served. Some are in approval. Some want her to go. Others are saying she could have stayed. Many are contemplating what will happen when Paula leaves. It's highly controversial at this time. But for me, there are things I learned from her. And as a person who I myself had wanted to be a lawyer, and my dream did not come true. As Paula said, her dream came true when she became a lawyer henceforth. I look at her as a strong Jamaican woman, the tenacity of this woman serving in a man's world. There are things I really can take from her. So what I did, the entire country is talking, persons in the diaspora talking and all that about Paula and the way she served. But I looked just now at the softer side of Paula as she grew up, how she spoke about her child, her mother, her father, and what she took with her from her upbringing. I really applaud her for that, and that's what I look at. Let's talk about Paula. Do you like how she served? Were there things she could have done differently? Let's talk about it. What good, Paula? What good?